have lots of testing going on here. Well, hello again. Thank you for being a part of Block 2. This was another fun block. We have quite a few of the filmmakers here in attendance that were in this block. Before we do that, before we have everybody come up for the Q&A, you received a ballot for this block for the Best Audience Award winner. So if you can do that before the end so we can tally it up, because after this we're gonna do the actual awards for the best of the best and for the audience award winner for Block 1 and Block 2. So on that note, I wanted to bring up all the filmmakers that are in attendance that have their film for this block.
We are reaching.
Lots. I love that I'm not the only, I like to stay in the corner. All right, well, let's start it off by everybody saying who you are and the film that you are here to represent.
My name is David Dylan Thomas, and I made the movie White Meat Appetizer. My name is Sam Greaves. I made the documentary Haunted Home.
My name is Kelly Murray. I'm the director of The Curse of Lygia.
My name is John Rochetter. I'm a producer, writer, and actor for The Curse of Lygia.
I'm Ronald Black, and I did the Party Fire. I'm the writer and director.
Hi, I'm Jim Canatelli. I'm the writer and director of the Killer Nutcrackers short.
Hey, I'm Mark Sarro, writer and director of Kill for a Kiss.
Hi, Jessica Jett, mainly DP for Kill for a Kiss.
I'm Tim Mueller, co-writer and voice actor for Kill for a Kiss.
I am Brett Taylor. I'm the sound mixer and gaffer for Kill for a Kiss.
I'm Curtis Theron. I'm the writer for Detour and Unlucky Charms.
All right, that's great. Does anybody in the audience have a question to start off?
Mr. Thomas, is it?
Yes.
So you're calling it White Meat Appetizer. There's hints in there that you're looking for maybe a main course. So where are we in that process, and what do you want people to take away from viewing this film?
Sure, thank you, stranger. So White Meat Appetizer, as it suggests, we wrote a film called White Meat, a feature, long ago, 2-3 years ago, and it occurred to us it'd be a good idea to make a short first to help get financing for that feature. So White Meat Appetizer is our first foray, the first few white people to be eaten. There are many more white people to be eaten in the feature. Right now we are just taking the film out to festivals like this to show it to good people like yourself. We just want as many people as possible to see it and get excited about it. And then next year we're going to start asking the people for money. Maybe you. As far as what I hope people take away from it, this is a time, I don't think any of us are under any illusions, this is a time when history, black history in particular, is under attack. So the line he has where he's like, you gotta read your history, that's kind of maybe the most important line. So there's a lot of Easter eggs we put in there about owning Judge, or the Quakers owning slaves, or the president's house, just little Easter eggs about history that we want people to kind of like dig into more, because a lot of where we are is because of where we've been, so we really hope people appreciate that, and we found horror and comedy as a good way into that history.
Any other questions? Well, one of our favorite questions is always to ask, and if you were here earlier, it's the same question, but we love to know where you came up with the idea for the film, and if you had any really good experiences making the film.
Sure. So I first got to Philadelphia with my wife in 2004, and we heard about Washington Square Park almost immediately. And yes, it's true, under that park are buried the bodies of hundreds of enslaved people. It did used to be called Congo Square. And immediately my brain, working the way it does, working the way a lot of horror fans' brains do, what if they all came back from the dead as zombies? Who would they go after? So I kind of sat on that idea for a while, and then Get Out came out, and I realized, oh, this could really be about something. So I studied horror, I studied Black history, and we wrote the screenplay, and then we finally kind of came full circle with this short. So it really was about the seed of that idea and what it could grow into. And then as far as on set, like I want to shout out someone named, you may have seen this name twice if you were really paying attention, Elfrida Free Howard did the effects and makeup for my film and for Kelly's film, so she was amazing. And this was the first film, to be honest, where I had a makeup department. And so one of the things I'll always remember is watching her mix brains. We were in the kind of staging area, and it's just a table, and it's like, I've never seen anyone make brains before. This is really kind of awesome. And collaborating on different ways to kill people that we hadn't seen in movies before, and how to make it like that. Getting to take that seriously is one of the best things about making horror movies. So yeah, that was awesome.
Well, Kyle Smith, the star of my documentary, he's been one of my best friends since we were like 13 years old, and he had been haunt acting for a long time. And one year I realized that like I've never actually seen him with my own eyes do like anything creative, and I was like, that's a shame. I have to go see that. So he invited me out to Field of Screams, and I brought my my VHS camera, which I had been using for a few years prior, and I thought it was the perfect opportunity to make like a found footage stylized documentary about all of the haunt actors there. And I went in with no plan, but I had a lot of great conversations with people, and the vibes were like surprisingly wholesome for such like a horrifying environment, and the whole thing really just made itself, honestly.
So the question is why we made, like how the idea came about. I'll let John speak more to the ideas, the writer, but I'll say John and I had been talking about doing a collaboration, and he had the script for Ligeia, Curse of Ligeia, and for me, what I got really excited about was the fact that it was a historical adaptation, a literary adaptation. When he was like, oh, I have this Edgar Allan Poe story, I said, yes, absolutely, let's do it. And with it being a period piece, there's obviously a lot more layers, and you know, they can be very difficult, but I thought, as a 3-person central cast, it later grew, but I thought, okay, this is feasible. And as far as experiences, I mean, the whole experience was, it was pretty crazy. We shot principal photography in 2 days, and then we did a third day of pickups. And I just have to say, like, the cast and crew, as you mentioned, Free, like, everyone just really top-notch, brought their A game. We had a very, I don't want to say like a lean schedule. We tried to pack a lot in, and everyone was just phenomenal. And I have to say, finding that location, it's located over in Quaker Hill, was just like an amazing find, because it turned out to be an Airbnb. The owner said she gave us full reign. Like, we didn't have to build anything. Everything you see, all the furniture, beds, everything was either arranged. We had like a grand piano in the bedroom. So we just really lucked out with, you know, being able to have that. And especially when you're doing like a gothic horror period film, you need to have a setting that's really gonna set the tone. So we really lucked out with that.
Well, like I say, we really owe it all to the master of the macabre, Edgar Allan Poe. I mean, I started out by writing a lot of play adaptations of some of his more popular work, but as I kept reading, I found myself more and more interested in more of his obscure work that people don't really read that much in schools or in their free time, like Hop Frog, The Premature Burial, and I came across Ligeia. And I remember reading the story thinking, there's so much here that can be explored and as also be adapted for modern audiences. So I got to work on this and then collaborating with Kelly on this project, and she was over the moon for it. And it's a story that we really think that will resonate with a lot of people when dealing with grief, love, loss, and also getting over a pandemic too, because there is a pandemic that takes place during that film itself. But we really and best experience, once everybody found their costume, that's when all the characters came to life. It really, it's so simple. Just even a costume, makeup detail, everybody found their character instantly, and we were all drawn into this realm.
Well, let me see here. Now that I have the mic in my hand, who knows what's going to happen or what's going to come out of my mouth. But no, when I got the idea for Party Fire, I'm friends with the producers for Terrifier franchise, and I told them that I was going to do a parody of it, and they were like, "Go for it." So I figured we're pretty much known for blood ourselves, but I figured for this one, I'll throw a little bit of comedy in there, and for the kill scenes, we kind of ran out of time, so that's why we had an animator make cartoons, which is a first for us, and we kind of like the way the cartoons came out, so we'll probably use those in other shows, or other movies, or shorts that we do. But once we got together, I mean, all these guys here, like, we all work together nonstop, so it's like one big family. And we do have the original in ours. We have the original Art the Clown. He played one of the dads. So I mean, that was something fresh. But I mean, once everyone got together, it's like a party. We just go out and have fun. We shot that in 12 hours, and you know, we just put it together. We got it in and out in less than 2 weeks. So yeah, the day we filmed that, it was like 10 degrees outside, and we had a lot of people outside, and it was brutal. Trust me, I know. I was standing out there for like 45 minutes with a jacket, and it still wasn't helping. Well, like I said, we hope everyone enjoyed it, and when we sent it to the producers of Terrifier, they just came back and like, now that's part of their daily conversations when they're talking with each other. They're just like using quotes from my movie. So I'm like, God, I love it, guys, thanks. So, I mean, we did something for us, and next thing you know, we've got it in festivals. We didn't even plan on that, but it was so funny that we just had to throw it in. So we hope everyone enjoyed it.
So Killer Nutcrackers, as you can see, has very crude stop motion effects in it, and that was the main draw for me a while back when actually my friend Brett Taylor over here, he witnessed the inception of the idea, and I made just a fake poster with like close with a Nutcracker's face, the jaw open wide, and had some like creepy like text over it. And it just stayed that way for a few years, and then this past holiday season, my fiance set up all these cool like Christmas decorations, and we bought a bunch of these little nutcrackers at like the Dollar Tree, and yeah, you don't have to spend a whole lot of money just to find something. And it was just a simple idea. We used our dog and cat that you see in the film, and that was the toughest part, is I had to use their treats to get them to come here to make it look like they're eating the nutcrackers. So that was the challenging part, but it was fun though. So.
Kill for a Kiss. So we had gotten approached by an actress friend of ours that we worked with on another feature saying, hey, I'm putting on this film festival on Valentine's Day, but the condition is that it has to have a kiss in it. So my go-to is, let's do a slasher comedy. You know, Mel Brooks meets John Carpenter and hitting all the tropes. And so came up with the initial story, and then the three of us kind of sit down and started brainstorming, and then Tim went off and wrote the first script, and then Jess and I kind of punched it up a little bit. We spent a couple months in pre-production. All that was practical in-camera lighting, so it was a lot of like, how do they make a thunderstorm, rainstorm happen on our control? So we did about 3 or 4 test shoots just to kind of figure out the lighting scheme and all the blocking. And I also wanted, to be lots of little wonders, like, longer takes, playing with the blocking, playing with the lighting, our key grip. He's there triggering the lighting, like pointing at him, like waiting for the right cue, and it's all those little things. And it was a lot of fun. We did it in 3 days. big crew helped us out. Ron was our special effects coordinator on that one. Of course, not enough blood for Ron. If you were here for Block 1, he also did the blood work in For Dealing with Love, which had a lot of blood. So, anyway, that's me.
I just wanted to add a little bit about the story. I was trying to, as Mark said, kind of touch on a lot of the tropes, but I like the idea of kind of twisting it and having the killer kind of lose interest. And it's funny because I've heard people react like when he gets killed, like they're upset, like they're really rooting for the killer. So I thought that was, telling of how kind of annoying the woman was. But, maybe you can relate to some of it a little bit. But yeah, we had a lot of fun doing it. I hope you all enjoyed it.
So the big deal for me was this. Kill for a Kiss was my first screenplay. I recently learned how to write them. I've been writing since I was a kid. Thank you. And I got to do it because Mark and Jess are very busy. I said, well, let me take a crack at this for you. And I had so much fun. Like as soon as I wrote it, I was like, oh, I want to write more of these. And I've got others, hopefully in the future for you. But that was the big deal for me. It was just, and also I knew the actors that were involved. So in this case, it was kind of easy for me to write because I knew the actors I was writing for, and I had a lot of fun doing it. That's that's the big deal for me. So.
I'm just here for support for my friends, and I had a lot of fun working on Kill for a Kiss as well as several other projects.
He's very, very good at his job.
Yeah,
Very good.
I'm a jack of all trades filmmaker, so I'm all over the place. That's it.
So for Detour and Unlucky Charms, I work with my brother Chris, who does all the animation, and for these two films, he had the idea of basically like the main monster, the leprechaun and the anglerfish traffic-like creature, and then basically it was my job to then figure out all the logistics of how these things make sense, how you know that this store clerk is a jerk and deserves to be attacked, how do you make it so it's not someone in the car driving backwards at 80 miles an hour, how you make that feel somewhat realistic, and then so it's just a lot of back and forth with him trying to get that to work, and thankfully it did.